Hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Red vs. Blue Zero. Now, as you may recall, back on November 9th, whenever the premiere date was, I reviewed episode 1. So I'm not going to talk much about episode 1 in this review, but I'm just going to do a whole season review for this, because, boy, I have a lot of shit to say about this season, and the cons heavily outweigh the pros. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So I want to start off by saying I respect all the people on the cast, and they seem really passionate about the season. I don't really, I respect all the creators, but this season, honestly, it wasn't good, okay? So I'm going to start with the pros. So obviously the animation is a huge pro. The animation has went up, I would say, like 5 times, 10 times even. It's fucking amazing, but regardless of the animation being good, what I've always been invested in Red vs. Blue for is the comedy, the storyline, and the characters and their motivations. But with this, all that seems to be lacking, and the only thing good about it is the animation. So I'm gonna talk about Viper for a bit here, like the episode. So it just starts off. You have Wash and Carolina, and they just get fucking destroyed by Viper when they were some of the best fighters, more Carolina, in the series, and they get their asses whooped. How is that possible? And it's because these villains are way too overpowered, and then you get later in the season, they're easily defeated, even when Zero has the ultimate power. Like, I don't understand the writing behind that. Now, I want to go to the topic of the old characters. So you have Carolina. Honestly, I think they did Carolina fine. She didn't really go out of character or anything. But it's Wash and Tucker that I see. Think about it this way. Tucker is my favorite character, Wash is my second favorite character, and Carolina is my third favorite character. So all my favorite characters were in this season. And Carolina was handled good, but Tucker and Wash, they were not handled good. So, with Wash, like, he gets his ass whooped, and then he gets taken back, like, Raymond and West find him and take him back to the base, and West got his ass whooped in episode 4, I think it was, and he was only in recovery for, 1 episode, when it was the same thing that Wash did, and Wash was in recovery for the entire season. That doesn't make sense. And sure, Wash might have been hurt a little bit more, but you could have had him in the season. But they had him in episode 1, and they had him in episode 6 in the hospital bed, and that was it. They didn't involve him. And with Tucker, it's even worse. You bring back a fan favorite. Like, pretty much everyone likes Tucker and stuff. So, how can you bring him back and fucking destroy his character? This is my least favorite part of the season by far, is how they handle Tucker. They bring him back, everyone's so hyped, like, at the end of episode 4, when Carolina name dropped, and I was like, oh yeah, this season's gonna get good now that Tucker's coming back. But was I wrong? Like, holy shit. He comes back, right? And then FaZe and East, they combine because they were the same person, and they kill Tucker. And, I wanted to believe he wasn't dead because the sword wasn't coming on. Because, but the writers, you don't know if they've seen the rest of the season. They don't know, you don't know if they're going to break the continuity. So, I still thought that Tucker was dead and FaZe was going to be able to use the sword. And that's essentially what happened, but Tucker just came back to life. So, their excuse was, FaZe used the sword, they used the sword to get into the temple in episode 6, but Tucker was still alive when that happened, and their excuse was that Tucker died for a couple seconds, so the ownership was able to transfer, but that doesn't make sense. I'm glad Tucker's still alive, otherwise I would be way more harsh on the creators, but why? His sword was one of the best parts about his character. It had so many storylines with it, and now FaZe has it. So I don't know what the hell they were thinking with that. Honestly, they should have brought Locust back, because Locust had a sword, and if he died, or if the ownership got transferred or whatever, people wouldn't be as upset. So I think that's what they should have done. And they were saying that this is like completely new, but then they just bring back all these old characters. And don't get me wrong, I want to see our old faces. Like, it was way better when they were in there, but still, you don't bring back fan favorites just to shit on them. Okay, I'm sorry. I went on a little bit of a rant there. I'm gonna try and be more organized for the episodes. So let's talk about episode 2, Recovery. So, Recovery, it was a fine episode. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't off Carolina like they did Wash, because Carolina was like probably one of my favorite parts of the season, honestly. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to individually talk about the episodes, because the episodes were fine. I mean, most of the characters were okay. They were nothing like what we had before, but they were fine. I liked Axel. His dynamic with Zero was okay. I liked the West-East phase dynamic thing. That was fine. But Raymond, I don't think he was really meant to be developed that much. I think he was like a comic relief thing, so that's fine. But they were hyping up One to be the main character, and yet she is probably one of the least developed members of the team, and she's one of the least important characters in the story. So that doesn't make sense to me. Like, her whole character, like it's not like she went through stuff that would, it's not like Shadow Squad in general went through training that would make them work better as a team, or would make one want to lead. It just happens. Like in episode 4, Shadow Squad gets their asses whooped by Zero, but then in episode 7 and 8, when they fight, they kick Viper's asses. Like, what? Like, there was like no training involved. And if there was gonna be training, they should have shown it on screen. But that's the thing with the season, is it's way too rushed. They only gave it 8 episodes that were all 10 minutes long. Like, that's not enough time to flesh out a story. And if you want to make us care about these characters, then you have to make it longer. And you have to care about, like, the previous stuff. Because honestly, I would have been more interested in this season if they didn't have Tucker in it. Because the whole Tucker situation pissed me off. And I'm just going all over the place with this. I'm sorry. I just want to get my thoughts out. But I do have one other pro, which is the music. The music is really good. I still prefer stuff like Contact and all the mellow stuff like that. But it's pretty good. I mean, I jam to Touch the Sky every day. So, yeah, at least the music was great. But the writing and stuff, no. Okay, so let's talk more about Viper, like the actual group. So, the motivations. So, first off, I'm going to talk about Diesel. So, I would like to recommend you this Red vs. Blue parody thing that this guy named Buck did. It's a machinima called Red vs. Blue Zeroer, and he has an episode 2 out. I would recommend you go check those out. I'll link them in the description if I remember, because they're really funny and they're really good. But it gives Diesel personality. But in the actual show, Diesel's just there. They don't explain why he's part of the squad. They don't explain his motives or his personality. He probably only said like 10 lines in the entire show. Like, he was just there to be a tough guy that they have to beat. He didn't have any personality. Now, FaZe, honestly, is probably my favorite character, either FaZe or Axel or West. They're the characters that I care about the most out of this season. Everyone else just felt really bland. So I like FaZe and stuff. But with Zero, okay, I want to talk about Zero, the main antagonist. So I thought that he was going to be a pretty cool villain. He was really badass, and he didn't seem way too overpowered at the start, because he was just using guns and he wasn't using too many powers, unlike FaZe and Diesel. But then the season goes on, and he's just way too overpowered, and then it gets to where he gets the ultimate power. I thought that was gonna be a cool thing, where a villain wins for once. I thought that was gonna be good, but it turns out the ultimate power is just some gold armor, and he just gets his ass kicked, and then he gets taken away by this Black Lotus thing, which they never explain what he actually is. He's just there. So the writing is probably my biggest complaint. It is fucking abysmal. Now, one thing I want to talk about, right? So, hear me out here. I have no problem with having a black character, a gay character, a female lead in a movie. And examples I'm gonna list here. So, you have Black Panther, which I enjoyed. You have any movie that The Rock is in, the ones that I see, I usually enjoy. And for, any other, I'm not gonna judge a movie if they have black people, or gay people, or female leads. And for female leads, I'm obsessed with the Hunger Games books and movies. Katniss Everdeen is the protagonist. I don't care if what gender or what skin color you are. The movie just has to be good, or the show or book just has to be good for me to like it, okay? So what I want to say by bringing up this topic is Red vs. Blue has never been about diversity. It didn't care what color or what gender or what sexuality, the cast members were, They were just there to make people laugh and tell a story and have fun. But now, as it's not just with Red vs. Blue Zero, it's with a whole bunch of just other shows in the entire TV and movie industry. All the people seem to care about is, you have people of different skin color in your movie. You have people of different sexualities or whatever in your movie. And like I said, I don't care, at all what it is. I just don't want that to be the main focus of a movie, or a TV show. You can have diversity all you want. It's great that they're including more people, but you don't want it to be the main focus. That's all that the cast has been pushing. We have a black lead. I don't understand it. One last thing I'm going to bring up, because I probably got a whole bunch of hate for that, is where I think the show should go next. So no, I don't think it should end despite this season. I think what it should do is it should keep going with these characters. Yes, I said it. I think it should keep going with these characters. But they should give this show more budget. They should have it be 20 episodes or even 12 even. Just have it be longer so that they can flesh out the story. And don't bring back, if there's a reason, Carolina, she had a reason to be in this season to train the Shatter Squad, right? But don't put Tucker in the season if he's not going to do anything useful and if you're just going to shit on his character, right? And honestly, I was really hoping for there to be a post-credit scene at the end of the season which had the Reds and Blues, and they were going to involve them somehow, and they were going to bring all the cast back and stuff, and they were going to give tips on what you should do, because I think they should have Shatter Squad and the original team, but only if they know how to write the original team, and they're not going to just shit on all their characters to make the new one shine, right? So, like I said, I don't hate this season. I'm more just disappointed because they could have done so much better with the characters and storyline and stuff like that. So, Torian, if you're directing the next one, I hope you see this, and I hope you take my advice into consideration. Yeah, I guess that's gonna do it for this review. Sorry if I was a little harsh. I honestly I want to get my point across. So, yeah, see you guys.